Hey, yo, what up? This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Ron Markman. Happy Halloween to all those who partake in the festivities. There's my costume right here, Blockbuster Video employee. For those who remember, who know what that is. I was out this evening just doing some Halloween things around the neighborhood with the fam and stuff like that. But had to come on, had to get this video off, had to talk about some things, major developments. Young Thug is free. Thursday, October 31st, Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, pled guilty after accepting a deal in his RICO case, right? So just to recap, in 2022, Thug was charged and arrested under Georgia's RICO Act. The actual case marked the longest in Georgia history, but now it's over, right? So Thug was in custody for actually 906 days, including the trial. He remained in custody during the trial. The short of it is that Thug will be released from custody. I think he if he's not out now, he's in the process of being released. He might actually be out by the time this video hits, but the process of releasing him is happening. I think if you look on the jail's website, it has him marked as released. And he has to serve 15 years probation as a part of the non-negotiated plea agreement. He would have been facing, or he was facing, 120 years if he was convicted on all charges. The judge also ordered that Thug cannot go into the metro Atlanta area for the first 10 years of his probation. He's allowed to return for weddings, funerals, graduations, but he must leave within 48 hours of all those events ending. He's required to return to the area 4 times a year during each year of his probation to host anti-gang and anti-gun presentations. He has to perform 100 hours of community service during each year of his probation, and he cannot have contact with any members of any street gang or any of his co-defendants. And his attorney, though, argued that he would still need to be in contact with his brother, of course, who was a co-defendant, and Gunna, who was a co-defendant, because he's contractually obligated to be in contact with Gunna. Thug addressed the court and showed remorse. He said, "I'm a smart guy. I'm a good guy. I really got a good heart. I found myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height because it can end, badly, right?" He said that he's learned from his mistakes. He also talked about how he realizes the negative effects that lyrics can have. All the things he has to say in front of a judge, I think all the things that they want to hear. I also think that there is maybe a great deal of remorse to the degree that Thug was guilty of everything that they said he was guilty of, right? I say the truth is somewhere in the middle. I'm sure he learned a lot from this situation. I'm sure when he got in front of that judge and said what he said, that he had learned a lot. This situation had taught him a lot. Probably taught him how to move different, how to associate himself different, how to present himself different, and not get caught up. Again, whether he was actually guilty of everything they were charging him of, I don't believe so. It looked like the case wasn't going very well for the prosecution. But still, when you're facing those years and taking a plea, like, can you blame him? But, he said he learns from the mistakes. He realizes that the negative effects that the lyrics have. Thug's lawyer spoke to the press, and he made it clear that what happened, Thug pleading guilty and accepting this plea is not the same as a not guilty verdict that he believes should have been handed down. His lawyer still believes he's not guilty, that verdict should have been handed down. But, he made an important point. He said that Thug wakes up every day on a concrete floor. He wakes up at 4:15 a.m. He gets shackled to get shipped over to the courthouse. He's eating Doritos for what I assume is breakfast. And then coming to the courtroom, and he's shackled by his feet and his legs every day, and hours of testimony. And what his lawyer actually said is having to hear lies told about him. He laid it on really thick, but he painted a good picture of what Thug was facing. Like, we can all say, damn, he should afford it. Nah, he was not guilty. Nah, he could have beat this. Nah, he didn't have to accept this plea. But what the lawyers is essentially saying is that only Thug, out of everybody, anybody who's judging him, right? Thug has to wake up every day at 4:15. Thug has to be behind those bars. Thug has to do this, and this case is going on for a long time. And he said with those conditions, considering those conditions, that Thug is happy to go home today and happy to accept this plea and to be able to go home. His lawyer made it clear though that this was not the specific outcome that he wanted, that the lawyer wanted. He doesn't believe that it is just. He still feels like by Thug accepting this guilty plea that this is not just, that justice hasn't served him. But he says under the circumstances, under everything that Thug is facing, that this is justice for Thug now. Like, this is under all the circumstances, this is just. But in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't believe this is just. Look, I think the 15 years probation is a lot. All sorts of things can violate your probation. So, and he could get sent up for, so 15 years to really, it's going to take a lot of discipline, counsel too. Like, okay, this is how you move, this is how you don't move. 15 years is a lot, but, and not being able to come to Metro Atlanta, where you're from, not being able to move around in the city that you're from, it is a lot. You know what I'm saying? I come from Brooklyn, New York. I know what my city, like, if somebody told me, yo, you can't go back to Brooklyn for 15 years, more so than just stunting or yo, I'm the man in this town or whatever, right? Like, Thug is obviously a star, so it's that. But it's like, yo, this is where I'm from. This is a part of me. So I think not being able to go to Metro Atlanta for 15 years is a lot. But he's facing 120 years. So I understand taking the plea. I'm not saying here trying to judge him either which way or the other, but I might have done the same thing. I probably would have done the same thing. Not to mention, one thing that we haven't talked about, and I don't have a clue on, I don't think very many people have a clue on, is how much money Thug spent to fight this case. How much money he's lost from not being able to work, put out albums consistently, tour in the way that he's used to. But, mortgages still have to get paid. Child support still has to get paid. Child tuition still has to get paid. Car payments, making sure your mom is straight. And, so he still has bills. I don't think the bills stop. But we don't know how much money he spent to fight this case. We don't know how much money he's lost from not being able to work. Right. And we don't know how much money he may owe. I don't know if the label... and truly don't know, right? I don't know if the label advanced him. I don't know if some homies helped front him some money. Maybe he had all that money in cash. I don't know if he had to take out a second mortgage on a home or sell a house. Like, truth is, nobody knows. But you can imagine there's a huge financial implication here, which we have no idea. So besides his freedom and being back home with his family, which is A1, which is most important, you do have to think about the financial implications. Like, how long can I fight? How much longer can this case go on? And if it doesn't go my way financially, do I have money for a retrial? You know what I'm saying? Like these, you almost have to calculate the losses. And of that, we have no idea, right? So what happens next? I think Thug gets back to music. I think lyrically, the music will change. Probably similar to T.I., how T.I.'s music changed after his case. And it wasn't that drastically. Like, when you think about Paper Trail, like, I think the message got a little more hopeful, but it still sounded like T.I. He still came back sounding like T.I. I don't know that the sound changes. Thug is still going to sound like Thug. I don't think he's necessarily going to make PG music or gospel music per se, but I think, he'll be a lot more mindful of what he says in these records because the authorities and the courts will surely be listening. And actually, the change in his music will probably be similar to how Gunna shifted a bit. You know what I'm saying? And like, Gunna's making hit music right now. Gunna's actually making, you could argue a strong argument, Gunna's making the best music of his life right now. You know what I'm saying? Gunna seems super focused on music. We don't see or hear much from Gunna outside of music. He kind of stays out the way, and Gunna is super focused. So, I think... And who knows what their personal relationship is going to be like going forward. But I think if that's a blueprint to follow, I think you get focused like Gunna. And it'll be interesting to see how they work together now. Like, imagine after all the speculation, what a Gunna Thug collab might sound like. What if they popped out and did a joint album? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like speculating and throwing that out there. As far as timing, maybe he wants to wait till 2025 to drop something. The music industry also comes into a lull at the end of the year. Labels start to shut down. People start to take their eye off the ball towards the end of the year and start eyeing towards 2025. Though Thug is a big enough artist that if he said, nah, I want to go right now, it'll be all systems go at the label, I'm sure. But I think probably 2025 is when he'll drop something. I mean, we're in November right now, right? And so it's November, December, and then we're right into January. And I think he has to drop the right records. I think what we hear from Thug coming next has to be like statements and the real things that we're used to when Thug was in his height. And then, first of all, take into account, I mean, I'm talking about music, but first and foremost, I'm sure he wants to connect with his family, with his kids, with his lady, and then pop out musically. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, like, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, I think Doug celebrates Christmas. What I'm saying is just all the holidays, right? New Year's, like, it's family time coming. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's is family time. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things just slow down. So I'm sure he wants to reconnect with his family. And then when he pops out musically, I'm sure he's going to have the support of every rapper. You know what I'm saying? Drake, Future, everyone. So it should get interesting musically. It should get exciting. I look forward to hearing what he has to say. He's been through a lot. So, a lot of times that pain comes out in music, right? Like, so it'll be interesting to see. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know. I'm not going to long talk. I don't have strong opinions on this. I just kind of wanted to report the news to y'all. For those of y'all who didn't know or just wanted it like in one place with a bunch of context, that's what's going on. That's what's happening. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. What do you expect from Thug going forward? What do you think of the plea deal and how he just moves on from there? Appreciate it, man. Well, 2 videos in one day. Shout out to everybody who watched the Dreamville video we dropped earlier. I got another video dropping tomorrow morning about Tyler, the Creator. Interesting, just something I noticed about Tyler, the Creator's Chromacopia album. So I want to have that discussion with y'all. And y'all know y'all comment. I'll comment right back, man. Love the community we building, all right? Everybody stay safe out there. Peace.